Guys, what's going on? In this video we'll be talking about the problems with modern dating and the solutions behind them. So if you're interested in viewing content like this and joining me on a mission of reuniting men and women into meaningful relationships, make sure you join the team by clicking the subscribe button. We want to bring healthy and strong families back. Now, with that being said, let's dive straight into problem number one, and that is that sex is treated too casually. Okay, so I'll give you a gold plate metaphor. Let's say that you have a gold plate at your home. It is valuable, it is something precious. And what do? You have a wobbly table and you use it under the table's leg to stabilize the table. Are you gonna do that with a gold plate? Of course not. Yet at the same time, something as meaningful and valuable as intimacy is nowadays, or for the past who knows how many years, being treated like that it's not that important. It's casual, it's harmless, nobody gets hurt. You know, if you have two consenting adults, it doesn't matter. Come on, like the two consenting adults theory or influence is completely wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, consent is necessary, of course, but it's not sufficient. Just because something is done between two consenting adults doesn't mean that that's healthy, doesn't mean that that's the wise option to do. So just because there are two consenting adults can do a lot of stupid things. So especially it's damaging to society if we continue on like this. When we separate commitment from intimacy, we have what happens today. Now what's another thing that happens? There's this sort of unhealthy dynamic. Well, you don't know whether that person is for you until you sleep with them. Like you really have to sleep with them in order for you to see if they're a good fit or not. Come on, like who bought this idea? Like this is insane. Okay, so the solution would be to reunite intimacy with commitment. And that is with exclusive commitment. So I don't want to hear any of this, I'm just exploring my options and dating multiple people at the same time. We're gonna get to that in point number two, which is what caused a lot of issues as well. But sticking to this, if somebody's not serious about you, especially I think this is important for women to understand, because if somebody is not expressing a seriousness with you, there comes a major societal problem. Why is that? Well, because a few percentage of men get with the most amount of women. So let's say 5% of men get 95% of women. And why? Because when you have commitment, it's one man and one woman, and they exclusively commit, ideally within a bounds of a marriage, because what shows that somebody is more serious about you than them asking you to marry them. So that's the ultimate indicator of seriousness from somebody's side, and that's how it was, the way it was before. And I think it worked. And I think that at least partially we should bring it back, not just collapse everything and think that nowadays we're the smartest and all of the people and historically we're dumb. If you exclude commitment and have intimacy without commitment, well then the top percent of men, like the top 1%, get 99% of the women, because they don't need to commit. They're like, okay, if you're giving out intimacy and I don't need to commit to you, I can do it with this woman, I can do it with that woman, etc., etc. And then you have a small percentage of men sleeping with thousands of women, and then the women actually, some, or I don't know, maybe all of them, think that they are gonna change them, right? That they are gonna be the one who is gonna change that person and be just with them, which is fairy tale. And that happens on the others, and then they think that they deserve like a millionaire who is 6'4", who is this and that. But the problem is that that's not realistic. I mean, there are men like that, of course, but it's a very small percentage. And if 99% of women are looking for that, you can get, what happens to the other 99% of men, or 90%, or whatever the percentage is? Well, they basically get excluded. So the only people that win are the 1% of men. The women get used, the men get excluded for the most part, and only who wins is like the top 1% of men, which is not the way you structure society. We can't structure society like this. Okay, so let's move on to problem number 2. It is juggling multiple partners at the same time. Oh, and just a side note, if you didn't realize already, liberating yourself, right, through sexual activity is not really liberation. It's being controlled by your impulses, being reckless, and killing off your emotions. And pair bonding. Okay, so problem number 2, juggling multiple people at the same time. Now, I get it. The idea behind it was to have an optimization algorithm, right? You are optimizing for the best partner as possible. Like you're saving time in order to date multiple people, and if you date multiple people, you can screen faster, you can compare, etc., and you will save your time. But once again, what happened in practice? I don't think that juggling multiple people at the same time makes you better at choosing and discernment, but it just trains you to switch multiple partners. And the problem is that there is always someone better. There is always someone better, quote unquote better, but there is always a characteristic that you will like more in some other person, and etc. But if you keep monkey branching, if you're one day here, the next day there, you're texting one person now and you're texting another person later, you are just training yourself for catastrophe. So what is the solution if you want to live according to principles? Well, devote your time to one person at a time. And if that person happens not to be a good fit for you, well then end it respectfully. You can end it as soon as possible or after a month or 2, but commit yourself to one person and give that person a shot. And it's so disrespectful to other people. So in 2 cases it's bad. So in one case, if the person doesn't know that you're juggling multiple people, it's definitely disrespectful towards them. It definitely destroys their dignity, and I guess your dignity as well, because you're giving yourself away to multiple people. But on the other side, even if they know, even if you're both consenting to dating multiple people, once again, just if something is a consent between 2 people doesn't mean that it's a smart thing to do. Okay, so issue number 3 is that commitment is framed as loss of freedom. Even the wording, like you don't want to tie yourself down, you don't want to chain yourself to marriage, you don't want to do this and that. You know, it's all framed as somehow, if you're in a committed relationship, if you're in a serious relationship and marriage, instead of framing it for what actually is, what actually was intended, is what is intended for stability, for creating strong families, raising kids who are healthy, who are smart. Instead of that, and of course for mutual growth, for expanding, for, you know, you've been working on yourself for some time and now you want to incorporate in your life another person and you want to grow together. No, you're gonna frame it as loss of freedom. And what is framed as freedom is going around, sleeping around, being chained to your impulses, you know, traveling the world, doing this and that. Like, I mean, come on, okay, I'm not bashing traveling the world and doing something for yourself. Of course, I mean, that's all great. But to isolate everyone and to make them think that they're gonna be chained just because they're in a relationship, it's insane. So what I'm trying to do as a solution is to actually promote serious relationships and hopefully marriage. Like, I want to see a future where healthy marriages and strong marriages are in the world, you know, where they're present. I don't want to, I mean, come on, like, do you really want to live in a world like this where people are casually dating each other, sleeping around? Okay, so issue number 4 in modern dating is the ideological gender warfare. And it was created by two extremes, I think, the toxic feminism part and the toxic red pill part. So it's kind of like that for men, exactly, like the toxic red pill was seen as sort of a counterculture to the toxic feminism, but it was seen as the solution. You know, that it's okay, now we finally got a solution. I don't believe it's the solution. I think it's the same coin. It's the other side of the same coin when it comes to toxic feminism. So, you know, they both create the gender warfare. Like what is the outcome? Let's look at the outcome. Is the outcome having strong and healthy families? No, for both, it's creating a distortion between the genders. So women go on their social media and then maybe they had a bad experience. They get bombarded with content that nourishes their soul in the moment when it comes to healing them, like in the short term and justifying their current emotions, but in the long term it just creates hate inside of them. And on the other side, as a man, maybe you get hurt or whatever, and then you go on social media and the algorithm personalizes your hurt and puts you some toxic red pill content, and then you feel in the short term great, you feel that your emotions are validated, but at the same time a lot of hate towards women gets created inside of you. And so we have to bash both and come to a middle, like the pendulum. If the pendulum swings like this, it's like here is toxic feminism, here is toxic red pill. We kind of want to get somewhere here and balance things out. Now, you want to be smart, you want to have discernment, but being smart and having discernment and cynicism are completely different things. So discernment is choosing wisely and realizing there are some unhealthy people. But cynicism is never trust anyone. Never trust women. Never trust men. Like, two sides of the same coin. And they both create the problem we're in. Okay, now next up is the you are the prize culture. So one side tells women you're the queen and you should have everything, you have value. And on the other side you have some men being told you are the king, you are the prize. And so, like, counterculture to women being told you are the prize is not men being told you are the prize. Like, okay, of course, there is a concept of dignity, that we all have inherent value, but the other person has inherent value as well. And you don't want to look at, like, because it creates complete narcissism, like, I am this worthy person and this is not a worthy person, so they need to prove their worth by doing everything for me while I offer nothing. This is completely wrong. And at the same time, okay, we have the concept of dignity. I have inherent value, you have inherent value, but we also want to bring back the concept of reciprocity. Like, I'm doing something in the relationship and you're doing something in the relationship. I'm contributing and you're contributing. It's basic stuff, but it's somehow it got forgotten. I don't know how. And the final one is, I touched a little bit on that as well, but it's social media and echo chambers. So what happens is, once again, you had a certain experience, you go on social media, your experience of course gets validated because nobody is going to call you out for your own behavior, but you're going to get content that the other side is narcissistic, toxic, etc. And so you get validated in your own little echo chamber. But what happens is, everybody is now in their own little echo chambers. So what would be the solution is, I want to sometime in the future create a healthy community where men and women can communicate openly, because the podcasts that are bringing on OnlyFans models and making fun of them, and the guys are like portrayed as being smart, you know, they're so intelligent, they're debating like these OnlyFans models, and the OnlyFans models are so bad, you know, for society, and now we're gonna create a podcast. Okay, so what are you doing? Are you solving the problem, or are you creating more of the problem? By opening up podcasts like that, are you actually bringing back strong and healthy families together? I don't think so. So the final message is, we don't need to adapt, we need to change the trajectory. I heard the message from a lot of people like, you know, the dating is now different and you have to adapt to the situation. No, I'm not gonna adapt to the situation, and you shouldn't either. Let's change the trajectory, because when something is going in a wrong way, you don't adapt to the wrong way. You try your best to switch that to a different direction. Because if we all adapt to something that's bad and is going in a bad and worse direction, well, we're just gonna basically over time adapt to worse and worse conditions. No, we need to change the conditions and change the rules. So I guess start off by being the change that you want to see in the world, living according to principles, and then we're gonna have a more healthy society. So that would be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something new. And make sure that you visit our website by going to theprincipledman.com.